but I should have respected you like you always do for me.
I wouldn't call stalking respectful. Ghost Bleepers was an alright episode. I had my rants, but we're gonna do one more, as this one line I keep coming back to. I know that Blitz respects Millie, but has he actually shown that through his actions? And this is huge since Blitz just got grilled for not recognizing the unintentional consequences of his behavior. So having to watch Millie apologize to him for calling him out, saying she should have respected him more when he was ignoring the company to chase Ghost Dick, it feels a little off to me, as the story doesn't feel like it's addressing this contradiction. That while a nice sentiment, Blitz does invade her privacy constantly, belittles her husband, and demands unconditional support. And this is kind of a thing for me. Like, I swear I like this show, but the listen to what I say versus seeing what I do is kind of crazy here. So let's break down Millie and Blitz's relationship and how valid that line actually is, and how a simple line creates such painful whiplash.
Damn it, Blitz!
So before we get into the haunting of John Waters, we gotta talk about how we perceived them before and the weirdness that came along with it. The main reason for this being Millie underfed when it comes to the spotlight. This can be chalked up to the fact that Mill was a late addition to the cast, though that's not an excuse. It just explains why most of season 1 was centered around Blitz and Moxie. As yeah, originally they were going to be has-been villains before they got their own spin-off. They came first, other characters got added on later, and that's what kinda led to Millie and her relationship to the rest of the cast not being as pronounced as everyone else's. Blitz's favorite pastime was stalking the imps because comedy. This would leave Moxie flabbergasted while Millie just laughed it off, which is interesting, as it creates kind of a baseline for how they interact for the rest of this, well, most of the series. And since they don't really talk too much, they're kind of just chill with each other. When Moxie grumbles, Millie shrugs. She, more than anyone else in the crew, rolls with Blitz's punches. Moxie and Blitz are fighting, Luna has her 20s angst going on, and that leaves Mill as the sole person Blitz just doesn't have beef with. Instead, they just work together to accomplish the mission, and she kind of just stands by Moxie whenever he's yelling at their boss. Millie, it could have been argued, is more trusting of Blitz than Moxie ever was in season 1. As while the theater kid was overanalyzing every single thing from a simple matricide to the other business decisions, Millie was usually just down to clown. Blitz wanted to start shit with a pop star? Millie, she just went with it. And while Moxie's concerns were valid, Millie's willingness to just trust Blitz's process conveys just how much she believes in Blitz and her faith in herself, that if things were to go wrong, she could just handle it and she'd keep her and her hubby safe. As yeah, Blitz was a train wreck even before he got emotionally derailed in Full Moon, but he was also a mess that Millie trusted and thought she could handle. If he was having a moment with her daughter, she and Mox would kill the humans to win the bet. She knew nothing about Blitz's beef, but she was behind it 100%, and she was like the most hype person when they actually won. I've always been of the opinion that Millie wasn't this chill till she started dating Moxie, the stay-at-home nights, the songs, going to the theater that she kind of hates sometimes. That's all her begging Mox. Previously, she was probably a little more wild, which was proven to be true on multiple occasions before we got to the ghost. Her hometown victims can attest, which does create a bit of a fun dichotomy to her character, that she was the mellowest person on the team, but she has probably the highest body count from her wilder days. And I do think that draws her and Blitz closer. Moxie and Luna were both raised in closed and restrictive environments. The mob was chaotic, but Moxie couldn't really do much without his dad telling him otherwise. In contrast, Millie and Blitz, while they probably didn't make great decisions, they were allowed to make their own, hence why they're chill and just trust each other's judgment. Game respects game, and Millie doesn't need a pep talk or validation to get through the day like some other people. However, this all does come back to the one real issue of how they interact. As while they're cool, Millie was even asking Blitz about his sex life and if this ball gag would fit Moxie. Millie was also letting shit slide from Blitz that you know she wouldn't take from anyone else. Namely, Blitz bullying Moxie and the stalking.
No, not really. You're a fucking disgrace.
The pilot isn't canon, but we do see her start to swear up when Luna starts making fat jokes again and seeing stars. When her sister is taking shots, Millie looks like she's ready to fire back. So while she knows that Blitz and Mox can be like this, that they bicker and insult each other, this did become somewhat of her blind spot, leading to the chill and tolerance to become something of a double-edged sword. She wasn't fully enabling Blitz, but she did just let the stalking happen with just an "oh you" face, despite Moxie's clear discomfort. And because we never really get Millie and Blitz interacting, we don't really get a sense like, okay, is she down with this? Is she okay with a three-way and Moxie's the hang-up? Or is this something that she tolerates, that she's like, oh, it's fine, it's how he is, and they just like move forward? Or is this something that she kind of enjoys? But Blitz is invading their privacy, no matter how you look at it. He's breaking into their house, watching them while they sleep. Maybe it's the fact that she was secretly the one the most benefiting from the stole it situation, as these chuckle fucks certainly weren't.
Be nice working with them.
I mean, she got a trip to Lululand, she got a trip back to her parents. She was getting the perks more than anyone else here. But this is kind of the weird but interesting place we found Millie and Blitz before the ghost hoe. Millie has been willing to let shit slide and is the only person in the office with a good head on her shoulders. So it makes sense that when everyone else is freaking out that Millie is forced to get out of the backseat and to course correct a man clearly spiraling. Though there are complications. I might do a whole video based on just this punch card, as yes, unconditional support with conditional contract.
Jeez! Jesus Christ.
So apparently it is a problem and one Millie can't make go away by telling Blitz to stop. But to go back to the setup, the office is a shit show. Millie realizes that they need their leader back to save the business, so she tries to talk sense to the man mourning a relationship that he didn't have, which, relatable.
I'm grieving the relationship that I thought I would have with a bunch of different people. That's a lot of small griefs.
Now I do enjoy that she's the one doing this, as it does make the most sense it would be her. Luna is his daughter, Mox friends, but they do have the boss-employee relationship coming up a lot. But Millie, by benefit of not beefing with him, is able to feel like she's the only member of the team he treats like a true equal.
I'm coping!
But then again, Blitz is still a self-pitying wreck, so even if he values her opinion, he's not gonna listen. With Millie getting sidetracked by doing Luna's job, which I will laugh at anyone who suggests Blitz trying to talk to Luna about her job performance was out of line when, yeah, she can be good with people, but she is legitimately, from what we've seen, bad at her actual job of running the front desk and customer interactions. However, a client brings up ghosts, which triggers Blitz to go from self-pity to something just as unproductive, chasing ghost dick, which does get him out of the house, so Millie is willing to let Blitz keep working through his problems, which is what she has been doing this entire time, letting Blitz do what he thinks he needs to do, regardless of how ill-advised it is, with Millie finally hitting her limit, telling out Blitz for how his make-believe has endangered the business, so Millie tries to focus on solutions, then dips. With it being here, where his last true support leaves him, does Blitz start to get haunted, getting shown visions of his past failings and Millie's near-death experiences. Then the mom gets cooked. Then we crash right into Millie and Blitz's backstory, where we find out how they met, and it's not that much of a revelation. Millie was a lone wolf badass that stole B&M's kill, so Blitz impressed goes to recruit her. But this Millie was a more jaded and less trusting individual, and assuming he had to be here for trouble, so she starts a fight. Living at the bottom and fighting for a living, that's just trained her to expect the worst in people, only for Blitz to suggest a different way, that they can be more than just one-off goons to the rich, that they can build something of their own. And after all that Millie has been through, all that she's experienced, this is why I like the moment of Blitz not flinching when she throws the knife at him. Anyone else she's met before would have dodged, panicked, or fought back, but Blitz took it, showing a level of trust and faith that she just wasn't used to. So she decides to go out on a limb and give this weirdo a shot, to trust the process and see where it takes her, and it works. They climb so much higher than she ever believed possible, but then those lingering feelings of doubt flare up, with Blitz telling her to shut the fuck up.
Stop killing my buzz.
It's sweeter than that, but effectively Blitz tells her to stop doubting, that if they can't make it, no one can. With Blitz's dismissal of their fears and that they are in fact in this together, giving her the confidence she needs to just let it go and to have fun with all of her friends, which does explain a lot of her previous behavior. It also continues to show something about Blitz, that he is able to raise and improve the lives of those around him. That yes, he has nuked and scarred many people, but when it comes to Imp, they've truly benefited from him being in their lives. Blitz, though, can't see it. He's so used to viewing himself as the problem that he can't see the change that he's helped create. This also has a justification for why Millie has let Blitz run roughshod over everyone, as she believes in him even when she didn't believe in herself. So she's willing to give this goof the benefit of the doubt, even when it leads to him wallowing or endangering the business within reason. Her fate makes so she doesn't have the same cutoff that Blitz did to her. She doesn't tell him to knock this shit out, she lets him work through it. And this hasn't really worked out, as Blitz's defense tactic of pretending everything is fine and putting up walls means no one knows what to do when he starts to spiral, making his issues worse and reinforcing his belief that he is unlovable, as he hasn't taught anyone how he wants to be loved. I did laugh when Millie calls Blitz her best friend. As well, it does make sense given the hints of what we've seen. I do wish we had seen them interact more just to fully earn that title, as right now, it kind of feels like process of elimination, as it's definitely not Luna, so it had to be Blitz. But Blitz calms down from his panic attack, he gets his choker back that he thought was an eyeball, and then we get to the line.
But I should have respected you like you always do for me.
Okay, so this is one of those things where I like the line, but once I start picking apart and looking at the actual evidence, it does start to eat away at the nice sentiment, as Millie had a moment of doubting herself and what they could achieve, while Blitz has spent a month neglecting everyone and himself, being what I could politely describe as a jagoff as he tries to get laid while everyone else is just hanging by a thread. So Millie calling him out on this bullshit and being what even the episode is framing as pathetic doesn't really equate to the instance we were shown in the flashback. Top that off, that Blitz dragging people into shit without considering the impact it has on their lives is a character flaw he was just called out for. So I don't really agree with Millie telling Blitz that she should have treated him with respect. As well, I do think he respects her. His actions have frequently been inconsiderate at best and downright disrespectful at worst. Yes, Millie is kind of okay with the stalking, but if we're taking all this at face value, the fact that she needs a fucking punch card so that he will stop does show that he won't listen unless there's some transaction here. That this is a boundary he is constantly breaking, even if she is cool enough and chill enough to joke about it. There's also no respect in endangering your employee's job and financial future to wallow in self-pity. Like, I've been side-eyeing how this story has been framing Stolz's actions, and I'm not gonna stop doing the side-eye when it's doing the same thing for Blitz. As from what we've seen, while I buy the emotions of the moment and the performances of the actors, I do think the story wants to have this nice line in spite of what feels like a contradiction with what's been depicted. I think they could have used this flaw to create conflict, introspection, and growth. We could have phrased this a different way to not create this dissonance, avoiding the issue altogether while not sweeping some of his behavior under the rug even if it was previously betrayed as a joke.
We're good.
My buddy VG Marcus, great channel, go check him out if you haven't already, kind of pointed out this issue of contradiction between what is stated versus the actual actions of the characters. And like, in a way that it's okay, yeah, complicated people, we get that, but we're going for like the theme of the story, what the episode wants to convey. This is an issue that has happened before and more than once. With the contradiction Mark pointed out to me being the time Luna has this whole message about, oh, we need to give our dad some grace. They're people, but they're trying, and that counts for something. Only to then immediately kick him in the dick, which very in character for Luna, but is this thing of like, okay, Helluva Boss wants its jokes and it wants its emotional moments, but also wants to dive into the psychology of the characters, what they've done, what they've experienced, why this informs their actions. So, while I'm willing to let a joke be a joke, for all that Helluva Boss is trying to do, for the characters to work and unpack all of this emotional damage, the story then choosing what it wants to take seriously versus others does make it feel like it's contradicting itself, especially when so many other moments that were once played for comedy get a dark turn later. If they want slapstick comedy of Luna beating up Blitz because dog, that's fine, it's a small thing. But when the story sets up Blitz needing to change and explicitly point out how his actions have consequences for those around him, and for us to see the consequences of him spiraling, only for the story to have Millie apologize for calling him out on it, ignoring how while Blitz does inspire Millie, that doesn't cover up for the fact that he doesn't respect boundaries, and that acting like he doesn't makes the lesson he learned in Apology Tour so much weaker. Giving Blitz or Stolz a pass on their previous behavior just to make a single line or scene hit, that doesn't really work for me. But this is an issue with Helluva Boss's writing where it contradicts its own messaging and themes in pursuit of this big emotional moment. I believe Blitz respects Millie. I'm okay with giving Blitz grace. However, for the series to teach us to care about these little moments, only for them to ignore them when it doesn't serve its narrative, I think that is to the detriment of the story. Like, sure, they just have to remove this one line and everything else would have been fine.